Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. Looking forward to our session. I thought I'd start off today by saying we'll continue after the chanting and the meditations. We'll continue our discussion on the 4 preliminary practices or contemplations of precious human life, impermanence, the law of karma, and unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. We just spent 5 weeks on the first one, and today we'll start the second one, which is the articles of this are a little bit shorter, actually. So probably will take us 3 weeks, whereas the other one took 5, as I mentioned. Okie dokie. So I thought I'd start out by mentioning that. We'll just continue this until we finish it. And then just after that, we'll have a little bit of commentary on the interdependent origination doctrine, the 12 links. And then after that, I'll decide what to do, but probably onto Master Atisha's teachings at that time. And so the other thing I wanted to show you today, I've shown you this before, obviously, given to me by Master Kuan Lien, his old beads, very old apparently. So probably, I think maybe 90 years old or more now, and sandalwood, still smelling very beautiful, very precious, So of course, the substance in itself is empty of independent nature or precious nature, but it's what they stand for, is what is precious. The other thing is I wanted to show you this. I have quite a few crystals, and given to me over the years. I don't think I've ever bought one myself, but anyway, have a look at this this rock first of all, okay? I don't know if you can see that very well at all, but just looks like a very ordinary rock, kind of like tan brown in color. But if you look beyond the surface, just like if you look beyond the surface of ourselves, look beyond the surface of all phenomena, rather than looking at it and experiencing it with attachment or aversion based on ignorance, but you look deeper and you can see this so-called ordinary looking rock has crystal inside. So this is like representative in a sense of our enlightened nature, our Buddha nature, our true nature. If we practice the Dharma, slowly unveil all of the outer layers, then the inner layers, we can realize our true nature. And always be confident with this too, remind yourself of this, even if we're a long way away from doing it right now. So like I said, ordinary looking rock, just like that. Normally we probably throw it away or kick it or just walk past it if we come into contact with it. But if you look deeper, you can see crystal inside. It's like a quartz crystal of some sort. Okay? So unveiling the Buddha nature in the rock. I just thought about it today. I was dusting in my bedroom a little bit earlier, and I realized, okay, actually I should introduce you to this. Of course, some of you who have attended classes for many, many years already know about these things. So the other thing I thought, and you probably can't see this very well, one day in Los Angeles, I drove to Los Angeles with a Chinese nun from the Silai Temple. She wanted to buy some Dharma books from a spiritual book shop named the Bodhicitta. Had a lot of books on Buddhism and other traditions too. And so I decided to go with her and get some books myself as well. And anyway, she was inside talking with someone, and I went outside to this shop that had things like crystals and whatnot. It was like 2 doors away. And I got talking to the owner there. And we started talking about Buddhism because she was practicing Tibetan Buddhism herself. And as I was leaving, she gave me this gift, and it's a water quartz. And you can't see it. It's impossible. In fact, it's really hard to see here. I'd have to put my glasses on to even get a glimpse of it. But inside, there's actually just a little bit, like a bubble of water inside there from millions of years ago. So in a sense, you can say that represents enlightenment as well. If you just look at this on the outside, you just think, oh, that's very beautiful quartz, like a beautiful human life. But we must practice Dharma to realize what's inside, So I thought I'd use these metaphors today to start the class off. And now we will do some chanting. We will do the chanting fast, as we normally do, because the class is so short. In your own time, you do the chanting slower, okay? Traditional way, if you can. or your own way is fine as well. You can even sing the chanting as well. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami, dutiyambi buddham saranam gacchami, dutiyambi dhammam saranam gacchami, dutiyambi sangham saranam gacchami, tatiyambi buddham saranam gacchami, tatiyambi dhammam saranam gacchami, tatiyambi sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. These remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gati Gati Para Gati Para Samgati Bodhi Soha. Tayata gati gati para samgati bodhi soha. Tayata gati para samgati bodhi soha. So I'll just add to what I was saying before. The 3 principles of the path to enlightenment. The first one is renunciation. So we are contemplating these 4 preliminary contemplations of the precious human birth, impermanence, the law of karma, and the unsatisfactory nature of samsara to help ourselves, enable ourselves to realize true renunciation, turn our mind directly towards the Dharma, practicing in the right direction and correctly, And then we have the Bodhicitta, the great compassion, altruistic intention, as the second of the principles of the path. And then you have emptiness, or the emptiness of self, or shunyata. Also can be expressed as anatta, the wisdom aspect. And then we can realize supreme enlightenment. So we work our way through these 3 paths, or 3 principles of the path. There's many other ways to express this as well, such as the foundation of the Dharma path, the path itself being the Eightfold Path, and then, of course, the result of the path, realizing enlightenment eventually. Just wanted to mention that, because that's the purpose for me giving these teachings at the moment, okay? That's also the purpose of why I'm spending a fair bit of time on this one teaching from my book, which I will recite to you now from the book before we do meditations, okay? It's the reason why we're spending a lot of time on that, because if we practice the Dharma now, in this lifetime, at this time, here and now, we are making our life a precious human life, not just an ordinary worldly human life, where we just look to gratify our senses and our ego and so forth. Okay, so there's a bit of a method to my madness here. And then, of course, the next teaching after this one We'll go on to talk about the paramitas, and then we will talk about the 4 immeasurables, how to realize the first of the 5 paramitas, and so on and so forth. 8 worldly winds is mentioned there as well. So we will kind of revise that. And then, of course, we go on to the great compassion from there, from practicing these paramitas. And then, of course, the last teaching in the book, because we had 4 to go, including the one we're on at the moment, is a teaching on no self, or shunyata, emptiness of self. Okay, so I will do it out of order today, give you a little bit of variety, because normally we do the chanting straight up, don't we, and then meditations, but I thought I'd switch it around a little bit today. So I didn't forget to show you those beautiful crystals. So every day is a good day. Every moment is a good moment, a great opportunity to practice the Buddha Dharma and bring benefit to all beings. Explanation. If we sincerely and wholeheartedly practice Dharma moment to moment, day to day, then every moment will be a joyful moment. Every day will be a joyful day. When we sincerely and wholeheartedly practice Dharma in this human life, our life becomes a precious human life, as we will be making the most of this rare and precious opportunity. We should constantly remind ourselves that we now possess a most valuable, priceless, and precious human birth. This will help us to maintain the inner strength, confidence, joy, and enthusiasm we need to take full advantage of this rare opportunity. We should be careful not to waste our lives by being distracted by superficial worldly concerns, so that we can emulate the great sages and masters of the past and truly believe with confidence that we can follow in their footsteps and make our lives truly meaningful and worthwhile. And so we will work off an article that I wrote for a Buddhist magazine some years ago, but actually the original sort of article was in point form for Dharma classes, going way back, probably 15, 20 years ago even, okay? So I rewrote it a few years ago as well, make it a bit shorter, a little bit more clear. So this article is actually, it's just 7 paragraphs long, so it's not too long, whereas the last one we worked off was maybe double that, twice that amount, okay? So now forget everything I just said. Time to forget everything from the past. Don't worry about any ideas for the future, and bring your mind into this present moment, into the fleeting moment, because even the present moment is fleeting. It doesn't stay the same for even one moment, one tiny nano moment. So firstly, initially, we're going to release the tension in the body. So get yourself in a comfortable position, not too tight, not too loose, not too much, not too little. Don't try too hard, don't try too little. And bring your mind inside your body. This will help you to also release the tension in the mind, focusing on different parts of your body to release the tension from those parts. Helps you to release the tension from your mind. So we'll begin at the tips of the toes and release the tension from all around your feet. And also your lower legs, around your knees, and upper legs. Also around your midsection, your lower back and sides. Now up your stomach a little bit and your sides a little bit to your middle back or middle of your back. And then further up past your chest area, underneath your arms and your upper back. We tend to carry a lot of stress in this area, so pay particular attention to releasing the tension. On the outer parts of the back, you have the lateral muscles, In between the shoulder blades and the spine, you have the rhomboid muscles, so release the tension from them. And running between your neck and shoulders, you have the upper trap muscles, so release the tension from them. Also from your shoulders, and then all the way down to the tips of your fingers. Now up to your neck. Release whatever tension you may have from the front, sides, and back of your neck, and up the back of your head, the sides of your head, around your ears and temples, and from your face, cheekbones and cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw. Make sure that your mouth is nice and relaxed, tongue resting on the upper palate, lips gently touching, your chin tucked in ever so slightly to keep the back of your neck straight and relaxed. All around your mouth and nose, eye sockets and eyes, sinuses. Make sure you're not frowning on your forehead. And finally, from the crown of your head. And now just briefly, just scan your body once more from the bottom to the top to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And if there is, release it. When you are ready, bring your focus now to the tip of your nose initially. And the object of the meditation is the breath, or the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose, all the way into your lungs, then back out your nose again. So breathing in and breathing out. All you have to do physically right now is be here physically, be present physically, and also breathe. All you have to do mentally right now is focus on your breath, or the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out. And when your mind wanders from the breath, replace it back onto the breath. That's all you have to do mentally now. Be mindful, aware, and conscientious. Mindfulness of the breath, aware when your mind wanders from it, and conscientious to replace it back on the breath. So like I just alluded to, if thoughts arise or mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it or even try to force it away. Don't deny it, but simply replace your mind back onto your breath and let go of these thoughts or mental agitation. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then replace your mind onto your breath more brightly. You might also like to add the extra technique of counting the breaths. One in breath and one out breath is one, and so on and so forth. But don't count past 10. And if you get distracted on the way to counting to 10, then go back to 1 at that time. Remember, the focus or the object of the meditation is the breath. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. So now you can feel pleased with yourself, of filling yourself with this concentration, or working your way towards perfecting this concentration by practicing the meditation on the breath, and filling yourself with universal loving kindness. Fill your whole being with this universal loving kindness, which includes compassion and joy and equanimity, and all of the other good qualities. Utilize the visualization technique of filling your whole being with the white light, or nectar if you prefer. Fill yourself with so much universal loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, your family, your friends, and fills them with the universal loving kindness too, filling them with this white light. Have the wish that they are happy and that they have the causes of happiness and that they are free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering, that they are peaceful. Now radiate further to include those you're indifferent towards, may regard as strangers, whether you know them a little or not at all. Fill them with the universal loving kindness too. And may they also be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. And now also include those you may regard as enemies. Fill them with the universal loving kindness too. May they also be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. So let's now radiate this universal loving kindness out further and further distance-wise, initially around your immediate area, to all living beings now, not just human beings. All the living beings that live on the land, even under the land, in the waters, both salt water as well as fresh water, fly through the air, whether they're born from wombs or eggs or moisture or through transformation. May they all be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Now further and further distance-wise, to include all living beings throughout your whole state or county, and all of nature too. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Those you have an affinity towards and are familiar with, those you have indifference towards, and also those that for whatever reason you may have some negative feelings towards. Until your loving kindness pervades throughout all of the countries in the world, and also throughout all of the oceans, which hosts most of the life on this planet, and other planets, I would imagine. May your loving kindness pervade all the way to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. And now beyond this world alone, throughout the whole solar system. And throughout the whole galaxy and the universe and beyond, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. This loving kindness that is generated initially in your own heart now radiates throughout infinite space without limit. So feel really pleased with yourself, and let's do the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. So now we can start the discussion on the meditation on or contemplation of impermanence, anicca. Anicca in Pali, anitya in Sanskrit. Okay, so the article is titled just that, it's Meditation on Impermanence. Consider how all things we cling to in this life are changing moment by moment. They are all subject to disintegration. They are unstable. We must be separated from everything sooner or later. Everything comes together, also disperses, or everything that comes together also disperses. All meetings end in partings. What is here today is gone tomorrow. What rises falls. All health ends in sickness. Youth ends in old age. Since birth, we carry our death. There is no place that death cannot find us. We cannot add a single day. We relentlessly move in its direction. Nothing can protect us. No wealth, no possession, no friend, no reputation, no success, no power, nor beauty. Nothing can turn back death. I'm not trying to make you feel down now, okay? This is just reality. Because impermanence can also have a positive sort of imprint with it as well, or a positive connotation, I should say. Because you can change for the better, isn't it? We can uproot our ignorance. If things weren't impermanent like this, we could not do that. So you could say impermanence has a positive as well. But I'm pointing out the negatives here, even though ultimately they're not negative. To get to understand impermanence, especially on a subtle level, is extremely important for us on the Dharma path. To develop renunciation, but also you could say from a relative point of view right now, the wisdom aspect, isn't it? And also we'll get off our butts and develop more and more compassion, bodhicitta. Okay, so I'll go back to that. So nothing can turn back death. All we have worked for, our whole life, will be swept away. We cannot take even a single atom of our prized possessions with us, or a single hair of this body that we have long served and cherished. All we will take with us is the karma that we have collected during our vain pursuit of worldly happiness during this and previous lives. We should contemplate well on the fact that life is fleeting and passes quickly, like a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass, which soon dries up when the sun rises. We should realize that there is never enough time to do the things we want, and that nothing lasts. We should contemplate well on the fact that death is certain, but the time of death is uncertain. Lifespans are not fixed. Sometimes the young die before the old, the healthy before the sick. The things that cause our death are many, whilst the things that keep us alive are few. And they can also cause our death. The body is fragile and easily hurt. Furthermore, at the time of our death, our loved ones cannot help us. Our possessions cannot help us. All the worldly activities we have devoted our lives to cannot help us. Attached to things of this life, we think that impermanent things are permanent. We think that suffering things are happiness. We think that impure things are pure. We should realize that the only thing that can help us at the time of death is the mind trained in the Dharma teachings. In summary, The three key principles of meditation on death and impermanence are: 1, that death is certain; 2, that the time of death is uncertain; 3, that at the time of death, nothing can help us but our Dharma practice. So the more we purify our mind and the less attached we are, the more it will be a pleasant experience. The more you focus your mind on the triple gem, on the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, or let's say from a Pure Land practice point of view, a Mahayana practice point of view, the Amitabha Buddha, which is not separate, not different from Sakyamuni Buddha or Gautama Buddha. Different ways to explain things. I won't go into detail with that, but maybe in the future, if you question me, I can give you some more details on that. But remember the word amita. Mita means limited or finite. Amita means unlimited or infinite. Ba means light. And in this case, it represents the unification and perfection of wisdom and compassion. So in that sense, the word Amitabha means enlightenment itself. Okay. There's many words we can use, many concepts that we can put words to and express through words. And even our actions can explain what enlightenment is, you could say, or at least what it is not. We have maybe 4 minutes, I think. Once again, I haven't got the clock coming up, the countdown clock. I think they've given up on that. So once again, the Dharma talk at the back end of this class is quite short, but of course I spoke for quite some time at the beginning of class. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you didn't mind that. I hope it didn't throw you off. You were getting ready for the chanting, with attachment, getting ready for the meditation practice at the normal time that we do it. Sometimes I think it's good to do things out of order so that we can release this expectation and things like that. All right, so we will consider a couple of things here. Like I said, I plan to spend 3 weeks on doing this, utilizing the 3 wisdom tools of hearing, contemplating, and meditating. Hearing the Dharma, the teachings, in this case, like the statements and paragraphs or whatever that I speak to you, then contemplating them, the meaning, getting to understand the meaning, and then meditating your mind or absorbing your mind with this understanding. If it does take just a little bit longer, like another week, or in other words, a 4th week, then that's life, no problem, okay? So let's begin. I will read this article to you each time we do it because it's reasonably short so that you get to understand a little more. Remember, don't cling to what we would perceive as negative. The words like death and life ending and sickness and so forth, okay? Just see that knowing these things, knowing the First Noble Truth of suffering, knowing the cause of suffering, knowing the cessation of suffering and the Eightfold Path leading to the cessation of suffering, knowing this is really positive, even if the words I speak sound negative from a worldly point of view, okay? So like I said, there's only a really short time to go. The first paragraph, so meditation on impermanence or anicca. Consider how all things we cling to in this life are changing moment to moment. I will repeat that. Utilize your wisdom of hearing and then utilize vipassana technique to contemplate the meaning behind these words. Consider how all things we cling to in this life are changing moment to moment. So contemplate that just for like maybe 10, 20 seconds. Come to some understanding of this. It's quite simple. We've spoken about this many times. I'm sure you've thought about it many times. Now absorb your mind with this understanding. Absorb your mind with how in this life, all the things that we cling to are constantly changing. We can even ask ourselves, why do we cling to them? Why do we chase after them? So we'll leave it there for today. I'm pretty sure the class will finish very, very soon. I rejoice in your goodness, as always. Please study, practice, and share the Dharma to the best of your ability. And look after your mind, look after your body. Keep a calm mind, positive mind. Practice mindfulness, awareness, conscientiousness. And consistently and constantly take refuge in the Buddha, the supreme teacher, the Dharma, the supreme teaching that is still existent in the world, and the Sangha, the supportive community of fellow practitioners. Also, you can utilize the videos for the previous classes. The last 5 were on the precious human life. You can revise those to remind yourself, uplift yourself of this great opportunity that we have, the precious human life.